Humans are capable of amazing things, but sometimes we're also capable of doing things so breathtakingly dumb that they end in disaster. From bizarre accidents to jaw-dropping miscalculations, today we're counting down 33 of the dumbest ways people actually died. You won't believe how some of these stories end, especially number 27.
Before we dive in, make sure to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the strangest true stories we uncover every week.
Let's get started.
1. Death by cactus revenge.
In the Arizona desert, a young man thought it would be hilarious to impress his buddies by shooting at one of those towering saguaro cacti. You know, the iconic cacti you see in Western movies. These things can grow over 25 feet tall and weigh thousands of pounds. He fired round after round into it, laughing as pieces of cactus flew everywhere. But then, physics had the last laugh. The weakened cactus toppled directly onto him, crushing him beneath its weight. It's almost as if nature itself said, "Mess around and find out." What's crazier? Saguaro cacti can live for over 150 years. Imagine a cactus older than your grandparents getting its sweet revenge. 2. The lawyer and the window. In Toronto, a lawyer had a party trick. He would show off the unbreakable strength of the office building's windows by running at them full speed. Time and time again, the glass would bend but not shatter. It was impressive, until one day when he ran at a 24th floor window in front of a group of young interns. The glass held, but the frame didn't. The entire window pane popped out, sending him plummeting to the ground. The tragedy here is he wasn't wrong. The glass was strong. But he fatally forgot about the frame. Death by beard. Hans Steininger, a 16th century Austrian man, was the proud owner of what was said to be the world's longest beard, over 4 feet long. Normally, he kept it neatly rolled up in a pouch, like a medieval hipster before hipsters existed. But during a sudden fire in his town, he rushed out in a panic, forgetting to tie it up. As he tried to flee, he stepped on his own beard, tripped, and snapped his neck. Just imagine it. Centuries of beard-growing dedication undone in seconds. A literal case of fashion being fatal. 4. The lawnmower airplane. In California, one man believed his true calling was to build an airplane using a lawnmower engine. He bolted pieces of metal together, crafted wings from scrap wood, and told everyone he was going to take to the skies. Against all advice, he hopped in and launched it. For a few glorious seconds, it actually worked. He was airborne. But the engine wasn't designed for flight, and the homemade plane nosedived, crashing instantly. His dream of becoming a backyard aviation pioneer ended as quickly as it began. 5. The candy factory accident. At a candy factory, a worker decided the best way to save time while cleaning was to step into a giant mixing vat while it was still running. These vats are basically enormous blenders designed to churn sticky, thick ingredients. He slipped and fell inside, and within moments, the machine did what it was built to do. What makes this story so chilling is that his co-workers didn't even realize what had happened until it was far too late. Workplace safety rules exist for a reason. 6. The mirror selfie gone wrong. We live in an age where people will risk their lives for a good Instagram shot. A tourist in a high-rise hotel leaned back against a glass balcony, holding her phone high for that perfect angle. She probably thought the glass was strong enough, but those balcony panes aren't meant to hold much weight. It gave way, and in seconds, what was supposed to be a glamorous photo turned into a fatal plunge. Ironically, the phone survived the fall, and rescuers later found it still recording. 7. Death by dessert. In Moscow, a man decided to prove his toughness by taking on a dare: eat 30 cream-filled cakes in one sitting. His friends cheered him on as he powered through cake after cake, frosting smeared across his face like a victorious warrior. He actually managed to finish them all, but his body couldn't handle the overload of sugar and fat. Minutes later, he collapsed and died from a heart attack. He won the bet, sure, but he lost the game of life. 8. DIY Rocket Man. In California, an amateur rocket enthusiast named Mad Mike Hughes set out to prove the Earth was flat. His plan? Build his own steam-powered rocket and launch himself high enough to see for himself. Cameras rolled as he blasted off. For a brief second, it looked like he had done it. But then the parachute tore off during launch and the rocket came crashing down to the desert floor. He didn't survive. It was a sobering reminder that science doesn't bend to belief. 9. Death by laughter. In ancient Greece, philosopher Chrysippus was walking home one evening when he spotted his donkey nibbling on a basket of figs. For reasons known only to him, he poured wine over the figs and fed them to the donkey. Watching the drunken animal stagger around struck him as so hilarious that he started laughing uncontrollably. He laughed so hard that he collapsed and died. Imagine being remembered not for your philosophy, but for laughing yourself to death at a tipsy donkey. 10. The Cobra Kiss. In India, a snake charmer thought he could take his performance to the next level. He bent down to kiss his cobra on the head in front of a cheering crowd. But snakes don't care about showmanship. In a flash, the cobra struck, sinking its fangs into his face. The man collapsed within minutes as horrified onlookers screamed. The lesson? Snakes aren't props, and stunts like this are a fast track to a very painful ending. 11. Exploding lava lamp. A man in Washington grew impatient with his lava lamp. It wasn't lavaing fast enough, so instead of waiting, he placed it directly on his kitchen stove to heat it quicker. Moments later, the lamp exploded like a bomb, sending glass shards flying. One shard pierced his chest, hitting his heart. All because he couldn't wait for some groovy blobs of wax. Patience really is a virtue. 12. Death by coconut. On a tropical vacation, a man stretched out on the sand under a palm tree, ignoring signs warning of falling coconuts. After all, what's the harm? He was snoozing peacefully when a coconut, weighing several pounds, dropped from high above, striking him on the head. He never woke up. Believe it or not, coconuts kill more people every year than sharks, proving paradise can be dangerous in unexpected ways. 13. The vending machine revenge. A college student lost his money to a stubborn vending machine. Furious, he started rocking it back and forth to shake out his snack. At first, it wobbled harmlessly. But he pushed harder, and the machine tipped over completely, crushing him beneath its weight. That candy bar turned out to be the most expensive snack in history. 14. The fatal petting zoo dare. At a safari park, a man wanted to show off for TikTok. He ignored the giant signs that read, "Do not enter," and climbed into the lion enclosure, saying he just wanted to pet one. His friends filmed, laughing nervously. But lions aren't house cats. Within seconds, the animal lunged. The tragic footage was later removed from social media, but his foolishness became an instant internet cautionary tale. 15. Death by champagne cork. Champagne is meant for celebration, but one businessman in Italy didn't realize how dangerous those corks can be. He popped open a bottle while holding it just inches from his face. The cork shot out like a bullet, smashing into his eye and traveling into his skull. He collapsed instantly, dying from brain trauma. That's one party that ended before it even started. 16. The bulletproof vest demo. A salesman wanted to prove his company's bulletproof vest was top of the line. In front of a crowd, he confidently strapped it on and asked a friend to shoot him. The problem? The vest wasn't designed for the type of high-caliber weapon they used. The bullet went straight through, killing him instantly. Needless to say, sales didn't go up after that demonstration. 17. The killer clown stunt. In Brazil, a performer dressed as a clown tried to thrill a group of kids by pretending to shoot himself. The plan was to fire blanks for comedic effect. But somehow, the gun wasn't loaded with blanks. It had live rounds. He pulled the trigger, and the performance ended in horror. Imagine being a child watching a clown's final act play out like that. 18. Death by car wash. One man decided he could fix a malfunctioning automatic car wash by stepping inside while it was running. The giant spinning brushes and machinery quickly trapped him, pinning him until he suffocated. The saddest part? The entire thing could have been avoided by just flipping the power switch first. 19. Russian roulette with gasoline. Two friends, drunk and bored, came up with what they thought was a hilarious game: Russian roulette with cigarette lighters. They filled them with gasoline, shook them, and clicked. The idea was to see whose lighter would spark. One wasn't empty. A fireball engulfed them, killing one instantly and injuring the other badly. Alcohol and games never mix well. 20. The Segway Cliff. Jimmy Helselden, the millionaire owner of Segway, loved riding his product on his estate in the UK. One day, he took his off-road Segway for a spin along a path that ran close to a cliff. Unfortunately, he lost control. The Segway veered off the edge and he plunged to his death. It was a grim twist of irony. The man who owned the company died because of the very invention that made him rich. 21. Fatal self-experiment. In the 1800s, before the world fully understood germs, one German scientist was determined to prove that cholera wasn't contagious. To silence his critics, he did something both bold and foolish. He filled a beaker with water contaminated by cholera and drank the whole thing in front of witnesses. He probably thought he'd walk away smiling, saying, "See, perfectly fine," but nature had other plans. Within days, he fell violently ill, and soon after, he was dead. His colleagues got their answer. Cholera is contagious, but at a price no peer-reviewed paper is worth. 22. The jet engine selfie. At an airport in India, a ground worker thought it would be cool to snap a selfie close to a massive jet engine. He crouched down, smiling, his phone ready. But what he didn't realize was that the engine was still running at low power. In an instant, the suction pulled him in, and there was no time to react. The horrifying incident was witnessed by other workers who later said they could only watch in shock. One photo was not worth that risk. 23. Death by giant balloon. At a festival, a man dressed himself in a giant balloon suit for laughs. Imagine a human hamster ball, inflated so big that you could barely see him inside. He danced around, crowd cheering, but he forgot something crucial: air holes. The suit quickly ran out of oxygen, and as people laughed, they didn't notice he had collapsed inside. By the time anyone realized, it was too late. What was supposed to be a silly gag turned into a silent tragedy. 24. Overdose on carrots. We've all heard the saying, "too much of a good thing." One man in England took that to the extreme. He wanted a natural tan without tanning beds or the sun, so he decided to eat nothing but carrots, believing the beta-carotene would turn his skin golden. And it worked, sort of. His skin turned bright orange, but he also poisoned himself with vitamin A. His liver couldn't handle the overload, and he died. The irony? He didn't even look tan, just like an Oompa Loompa from Willy Wonka. 25. Death by metal detector. Treasure hunters dream of finding gold, jewels, or relics. But one man's dream turned into a nightmare when his metal detector beeped furiously in a field. Excited, he dug deeper and uncovered what he thought was an old piece of metal. But it wasn't a relic. It was an unexploded bomb from decades earlier. The moment he struck it with his shovel, it detonated. The treasure he found was his last. 26. Sleeping with a running generator. During a power outage, a family set up a gas-powered generator in their living room to keep the lights and heat going overnight. They probably thought they were being clever. But the invisible danger wasn't the noise or the fumes they could smell. It was the carbon monoxide silently filling the room. By morning, the entire family had passed away in their sleep. Carbon monoxide has no scent, no color, and no mercy. It's a killer that sneaks up when you least expect it. 27. Homemade bungee jump. A thrill seeker in Mexico wanted to experience the rush of bungee jumping without paying for the real thing. What he didn't plan for was how narrow it was. Halfway down, he got stuck. Unable to move, he suffocated before anyone realized what had happened. The next morning, instead of presents, his family found a nightmare. It's one of the darkest holiday stories ever told. 30. Death by automatic sliding door. In Japan, a drunk man amused himself by messing around with the automatic sliding doors at a subway station. He kept blocking them, sticking his body in and out as they closed. Eventually, the doors clamped down on him just as a train pulled in. Pinned between the doors and the wall, he suffocated before rescuers could get to him. The doors that were designed to make life easier ended up ending his. 31. The hot tub in a pickup. Two friends thought they had the ultimate idea: turn the back of a pickup truck into a mobile hot tub. They lined it with plastic, filled it with water, and even added bubbles. It looked like a hilarious party trick until they drove it down a road. The water made the truck dangerously heavy and unstable. On a sharp curve, it flipped, pinning both men underneath. Their experiment in luxury on wheels ended in tragedy. 32. Fatal beard of bees. In China, a street performer wanted to set a world record for the largest beard of bees. He lured thousands of bees onto his face and body using queen pheromones. At first, the crowd gasped in amazement. But within minutes, he began to swell. He didn't realize he was allergic to bee stings. His throat closed up, and he collapsed as people screamed. The very spectacle he hoped would make him famous ended his life instead. 33. Death by playing dead. In Turkey, a hunter decided to prank his friends during a hunting trip. He crouched low, growled, and crawled through the bushes, pretending to be a bear. He probably thought they'd laugh and call him an idiot. But one of his friends, startled and convinced it was real, raised his gun and fired. The prank ended instantly. It's the ultimate example of how mixing jokes with firearms is never, ever funny. And that wraps up our list of the 33 dumbest ways people have died. Some of these are tragic, some are ironic, and a few are almost unbelievable. But all of them remind us of one thing. Sometimes our own bad decisions are deadlier than any outside threat. Which one shocked you the most? Drop your answer in the comments below. And if you made it this far, you're officially smarter than all 33 of these people. So don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and share it with a friend who needs a reminder to think twice before doing something reckless. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and remember, common sense saves lives.